allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
As discussed earlier, they're working on fire alarms that may go off, may not go off, not to be alarmed. It's just a test.
Not to be alarmed.
Yeah. First order of business, we approved the minutes from last week.
I'll make the motion.
Tim moved, John seconded, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Miscellaneous motions. Move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign one tax abatement in the amount of $1,566.82.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Tim's moved, John seconded. Says the improvement value was incorrectly allocated when the property split. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. The next one is move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Sheila Swank, public health nurse, LPN, health department classification 35M to 50M. Wage from 2161 to 2664, effective 9/1/21.
She's in my district, I'll make that motion.
Mr. Chairman, right now, we don't have the right classifications on that. They're not in our new structure. Probably need to have a little more information on that.
Says it's a 50 and it's actually a 60.
I'm sorry?
It says it's a 50, but it's actually should be a 60. And there's not any, it's not matching any numbers.
Okay, we can table it for further discussion.
I say we ought to table it, Chairman.
So I guess we'll table it for further discussion. I have two that want further discussion on it.
So we haven't got a second yet either.
Well, Bob moved to approve it. We didn't get a second on that. You said you wanted further
Well, I think we
discovery.
usually do.
Yes, we agreed to further
I
discovery.
think we need to make sure that we put
It doesn't tie into the new structure.
exactly.
Okay.
It does on my chart.
Huh?
I did on mine.
So it's kind of like a
The
few
dollar
other-
amount is, the labeling's on. Dollar amount.
She's a M 50.
I'm sorry, I don't have mine with me.
Which is 2664.
But on the sheet, it says a 50.
Yeah.
50, yeah.
50.
She is right.
It does tie.
It says public health nurse, she's 60.
I'm sorry, I can't remember the increase part.
Public health, your numbers,
You know,
But what's the classification under?
Wouldn't it be a
There's no
60?
public health nurse there.
I'm sorry, I don't have mine in front of me.
So it'd be down here.
it'd be number
Down here,
60, public health nurse,
Is
and
not,
somewhere in between,
We need some clarification.
Let's table it for now.
we just need to declare what she is.
So the next one would be, sounds like we need a voting delegate, first alternate. second alternate. 46th Annual Conference Exhibition, October 18th and 20th. Do we have anybody nominated for these zones?
You guys just do it here, you nominate who's gonna be your first, or who's gonna be the delegate, who's gonna be this first. And who's
Are you
gonna-
planning on going up, Tim?
Yeah, I've got it all, so
Would you accept the nomination for a voting delegate?
unless Jesse wants.
I can be, it don't matter to me.
We're
You
both
go
gonna
for
be
it.
there, so, yeah, I'll take that.
One voting delegate, one first, and then first alternate. I'll be there also. but
I will probably be on vacation at that time, so. FYI.
Is Bob going? You going?
No,
over? No?
I think it'll be kind of a joke. Which
I nominate
are good for you new guys.
Mr. Johnson.
I'll second that.
So move to appoint Tim Johnson as voting delegate, as first alternate.
I'll be
He would
Jesse
be the
as,
delegate, the
He's the
voting
delegate.
as
delegate.
second alternate.
And then Jesse would be the second. You okay with that?
Okay, you got a delegate,
Jesse's first alternate.
who's the delegate?
Tim.
Tim.
Okay, so the first alternate would be Jesse,
Mhm.
who's the second alternate?
That'd be Dawn.
Dawn.
Okay.
I'll move Dawn.
Can we just do it all in one motion?
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they have.
We gotta get
they have
the
them,
names
don't have
correct.
some, they have them that has some no-shows.
Apparently so.
So we're gonna move to appoint Tim as voting delegate, Jesse as first alternate, and Dawn as second alternate for the 2021 KAC 46th Annual Conference Exhibition, October 18th through 20th, 2021, Monday through Wednesday, Overland Park, Johnson County, Kansas. I'll move. Jesse seconded. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes 5-0.
That's easy.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
I just want to say, I want to commend the commission on how you went about doing this and nominating the delegates for KAC. In the 16 years I've been here as county clerk, it's never been as transparent as it was today. So I just want to commend you guys for doing it the proper way for Coffee County and seeing the transparency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that gets us to that. We tabled the health nurse deal for now. Next up would be Jeff Sloyer. Morning, Doc.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Got some notes today. So as far as COVID numbers, just to give you a quick glimpse into where we're at on Monday. A couple weeks ago, we were at 65. At the end of last week, we got up to 85. The big push in those numbers came from the high school building. We had a bunch of the kids. I think they got to close to 30 kids over there.
Got up to 85.
On Friday. Now 30 have recovered over the weekend, so we're back down to 55, and then maybe add in 4 cases from the weekend, so we're maybe upper 50s, it looks like. It's kind of the latest and greatest as of right now. So constantly those numbers are evolving and changing, but I don't think it's too surprising based if you look at what the whole country's going through. We knew, I mean, the kids are interesting. The schools started that. I mean, obviously what happens at the school affects our community. What's happening in our community affects the numbers at the school. It's an ongoing relationship between those two entities. But, you know, the fact that we're back down in the 50s, that's good. I feel like we're hopefully trending back down. We did have to shut the school down for about 5 days to let things kind of cool off there. A week ago, the school board met and had a debate about masks or not masking and how to, you know, keep the kids in school. So the goal is to try to keep the kids in school. Having them at home does not help them. And so we don't want buildings to close down. That doesn't help the kids either. So finding the least restrictive way of keeping those kids in school as safe as we can, so it helps the community as far as numbers. You know, so it's a balance, constant balancing act with that. So, so I don't think the numbers are too surprising or shocking. I'm glad to see that they are coming back down. So that's good. Hospital numbers on Friday, we had 5 people in the hospital with COVID. Today we have 3. What was interesting about the 5 on Friday is one was in his 20s, 2 of the guys were in their 30s. We had a guy in the 40s and a guy in their 50s. So you can see the trend. A year ago, that was not probably the case. I mean, it was definitely more 60 and above. And that, you know, the good news for that population of people is we're not seeing those particularly in the hospital, which is good.
I think that's good for us older people then.
Possibly, yes. So, yeah.
Was there any underlying illnesses with him?
You know what? A few, yes.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, but shockingly, some of them, you know, like there's one in there now that's, you know, has hardly any health issues at all, and he's 30. You know, so, you know, we're hearing more and more about these stories of people that really have no underlying health issues that are getting sick from this, and you just can't predict who's going to end up going down the wrong path and getting sick.
Is any of them that's in the hospital been vaccinated?
No.
None of them.
So that definitely seems to be a pretty strong connection there. The last time I was here, we kind of talked about, can you get COVID after you've been vaccinated? The answer to that is yes. It tends to be a milder case. But again, the statement about if you get vaccinated, it definitely seems to make a difference whether or not you get severe disease that leads to hospitalization, ventilation, death. That is a very strong statement that vaccinated people don't seem to go down that path.
Any of them had it before?
I don't know that number. That's a hard number to find. I don't know specifically. My particular patient that I'm taking care of right now, he has never had it. So I don't know how he sort of went a whole year and a half without getting it. It seems like that's almost a miracle these days. How can you go a whole year and a half in the middle of all this pandemic and not get it?
Hide in your
Seems
basement.
like to me, we need.
Hide in your basement.
I guess. So luck, I guess. But, so I don't know if you guys have any questions about where we're at right now as a community with numbers or where the hospital stands. I will say that we have this program in place now. I don't know if we had it the last time I talked to you, but it's called Mission Control. Have you guys heard about this yet? So at the hospital, about a month ago, if you were going down the wrong path, going downhill, and needing more help, more care, more oxygen, it looked like this was not going to be an easy case, we would have to call hospitals to see if we could send you out. And I remember at one point, we were having to call 40, 50, 60, 70 hospitals. And people were getting sent to Branson and St. Louis and all kinds of different places. And now they've come up with this program. It's called Mission Control. And so basically we put in there that we have a patient that's going to need care. And hospitals can kind of post on there that they have an open bed space so we can make a faster connection. But we did put a guy yesterday on Mission Control. We're sitting here at 24 hours and we still don't have a bed. I know on Friday they tried sending one out and they told us that Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma had no bed space for a person with COVID. So, I mean, these are real fights that we're having. Missouri actually is taking more patients for us than any other state, I would say.
You got 5 of them in a hospital, that one you need to ship out. Where's that individual at, in the hallway or?
No, we have a COVID unit in our hospital that we kind
Sure
of.
you had someplace.
Yeah. And so we just don't have, we have a ventilator, but we don't have an ICU. We don't have the manpower and the staffing to take care of critically ill patients. So if that patient does end up needing something more than we can provide, I hope we don't get in that position. We've managed to always kind of squeak by so far and get people out before we get to that. But, it's, this guy, it's down, well, I can't really talk too much about it, but I mean, I just know that I hope we don't get in a pinch this winter, and need to be able to send people out, and there's no place for them to go.
Are you guys doing a lot of testing for antibodies?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's pretty much if patients ask for it at this point. So if people want to know, I don't know, some of the tests I think are accurate, some aren't. So I know you can go, at one point in time, you could go into a CVS or Walgreens and for $20 or $25 you could get your finger sticked and they'll tell you if you have them. I don't know how accurate those are, but
I'm sure there's false positive or whatever.
yeah, I know that has not been, I think that's the future of how we'll be able to manage whether you need vaccinated or if you're safe or whatever, maybe based on some kind of a test, if you can put a number to it. But right now, just finding out that you have it, yes, it's kind of nice information, but does that mean that you are bulletproof, that you can't get COVID? Does that mean that, it just depends on that number, how high that is. Obviously, it's high enough to trigger a test, but is it high enough to really protect you from the virus? It's hard to say.
So with all the vaccines, is there a point in time where herd immunity is gonna take place?
I want to believe that. I mean, that's been a concept that's been talked about at the beginning. I think so. I mean, at one point in time, our numbers were rising and Kansas City had a more stable population. I think that's for a couple of reasons. One is they probably have had more disease in those big towns than, let's say, rural America. And they have a bigger vaccination rate up there. So,
But if, with the vaccinations, aren't you gonna get the spin-offs like the beta or the alpha or whatever? Isn't that gonna continue?
so, that's kind of the big push for vaccines at this point is that the more that we can knock down the virus, the less chance for mutations. So when you have these big outbreaks, the worry that we have is the more cases that you have, the more chances that that virus is replicating. And when every time that thing replicates, there's always a chance of a spin-off variant. And so then you worry, if this virus got smarter, let's say, and made another variant that our vaccines didn't work against, or let's say even natural immunity, let's say somebody has natural immunity, then your natural immunity may not cover that. The vaccine may not cover that. So then it's like starting all over again. So that's really kind of the bigger push that a lot of people don't see out there in the media is that we are trying to drive the disease down so that there's less chance of these variants coming out.
So can a person that's been unvaccinated get the Delta?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not just attacking the.
No, the Delta variant is what is here now. I mean, I think it's 99% of cases are, you just have to expect it is the Delta variant at this point. So, but luckily the Delta variant still has those spike proteins. And so natural immunity and the vaccines are still working against the Delta variant. But it is definitely spreading more rampant through the unvaccinated. So if you haven't had disease or you haven't been vaccinated, that's the population right now that it's attacking. So, I mean, if you see people that are dying, people that are in hospitals, those that they have not been vaccinated or have had natural disease.
Back to your hospital.
Yeah.
Is a lot of that beds not available now because actually hospitals have gone back to doing surgeries and things that they didn't do for a year?
Yeah.
So they're filled up some of their rooms by actually going back and trying to be halfway normal?
Definitely bed availability is affected by a couple different things. Hospitals a year ago, they were shutting down complete wards of their hospital and focusing just on COVID. So we had more space to send people to. Those hospitals, when things slowed down in March and April, a lot of those COVID units were kind of closed down and things went back to normal. And so, yes, there's not as many COVID beds at hospitals.
Right. I mean, I think that's something that we ought to be telling the public is that because there are no beds available for right now is because there's a lot of other people who do not have COVID
Right.
that are taking those beds.
There's some truth to that. The other thing is staffing. Staffing is horrible right now. So and that's just not only for even a town like our size, but just the whole state, the whole United States. Getting people to work in particular in medicine or healthcare those numbers have sagged way down. So some of this,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
With the staffing shortage, I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good time to put in a mandate.
for like the vaccine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if a mandate's good or bad. I mean, that has to be debated, I guess, but
I mean, with the staffing shortage.
Ultimately, people still have to make the decision that's best for them. I just want people to know that, what applied last year seems to be a little bit different this year. And so, last year it seemed like it was easier to get people transferred out. And for whatever various reasons, it is becoming more and more difficult that if you're sick and we need to send you out, it is getting more difficult to send you just right up the road to Topeka. We're having to send you all over the state or even another state away. So, whether that's because of other diseases going on or whether it's staff shortage, it doesn't always mean that COVID numbers are necessarily higher, although they appear to be, and the numbers suggest that the numbers are higher. I mean, especially compared to this time last year. This time last year, we enjoyed pretty good numbers, and then we didn't see that big spike after the holidays. So I don't know what it's going to look like in November, December. I'm expecting another big spike, of course. But.
How's the numbers on the people that's been vaccinated that's having issues with the vaccination?
I mean, we get some complaints. So just my population of people, we get some complaints that say their arm is sore. That's a common thing. After that second vaccine, you'll have this 12 to 24-hour period where you kind of feel achy and sore. Some people will run a low-grade temp. But for the most part, those have all been short-lived things in my patients. So I don't currently have any patients that I'm aware of that are having any, side effects long-term from the COVID vaccine. So that's my patient population. So.
I wasn't, with both my shots, I wasn't affected until the second 24 hours.
Yeah,
And it put me down for about 18 or 20 hours.
we'll kind of hear that.
But it was,
But as
it
fast as
came
it
on,
starts, and then it's gone, right? Yeah.
but
So
it was the
it's
second 24 hour period.
12 to 24 hour period, yeah.
With the Pfizer being fully approved now, of course, it's in our new name, and I don't fully understand all that. If we do another clinic,
Mhm.
and Pfizer is the only medicine that's available,
Mhm.
and the only label to give to our people is still labeled experimental, as I understand it, where's the take on that?
Right, so that's my next topic. So, vaccine update. So you led right into that. So the Pfizer vaccine was one of the first that came to the market. It got the emergency approval. We started giving it to people in December, January. And so, after a certain amount of safety was demonstrated, the Pfizer went to the FDA and said, we want now full approval. So about 4 weeks ago today, it got full approval. And so to confuse things, it got renamed, they call it Comirnaty. It's some kind of it's the new name they put to it. So if you call up to the health department, even at the state level or local level, and say, hey, do you have the new FDA approved vaccine? They're going to say, no, they don't have it, because they don't have the new vial with the new name on it. However, it is the exact same thing as the Pfizer vaccine. And I have a funny feeling the media, so far, if you look at the media and some of the things they're reporting, they're still calling it the Pfizer vaccine, just because people know what that means. For a year now, we've heard the Pfizer vaccine. So you start using the new name, it just throws that other layer of confusion into things. But yes, if you call our health department and say, do you have the new one? They're going to say no. But if you say, do you have the Pfizer? They'll say, yes, we have potentially to get the Pfizer. And we did hold a clinic a couple weeks ago. We had 100 doses, and I think we gave out around 60. And so they did that at the library. It was kind of a walk-up deal. So we didn't really have any reservations. I was kind of wondering how that was going to turn out. I didn't know if we'd have nobody show up or a bunch of people show up. But they had about 25 people in line at 3 o'clock. They got those through pretty quick. And then about another 30 or 40 people kind of trickled in over the next few hours. But, so those people that wanted to get it, they got it.
But technically, the information they provided to the people who took the shot still labeled experimental.
Right, because when they get their shipment in and it
understand.
says the Pfizer vaccine, it has the little package insert in there and it says this is still an experimental drug. But when the new packaging comes out, which is supposed to be this week or next week, it will have in there full FDA approval. So because, it's a information logistic thing on that. That is a technicality. It is the same medicine, same dose, same strength. Literally Pfizer can pull off the Pfizer and label and put on this new name. It's the same medicine there. Same
So in other words, in a couple of weeks, the label it'll have approved.
Yes.
The
When the
Pfizer
new,
vaccine will have an approved label.
yeah, when it got approved 4 weeks ago, they said it would take about a month to roll out. And so the new stuff should be coming in with the new name and the new insert that says this is a full FDA approval. So, and I expect, by the way, Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, they've been a month or two behind, so they will be coming in next. Moderna information will be coming back in next, followed by Johnson & Johnson, and I expect those two to get FDA approval too. We'll see what happens. So that's coming down the pipeline. While we're talking about Pfizer, just this morning, it was announced that Pfizer will be approaching the FDA this week about kids aged 5 to 11. So their studies are showing that their safety, the kids that age, they only get 1/3 the dose of an adult. So it's a smaller dose.
So they do reduce that.
Yeah, they reduce it based on the size and the age of the kid down to 1/3 of what an adult would get. But their numbers right now look promising as far as safety. So the trials are ongoing as far as it preventing disease in that age group. They can't comment on that yet. They said numbers have to come out yet about that. So the FDA will now have to look at that population of kids, which basically are kindergartners up to middle school. And then if that gets approved, I expect some people in our community will get that. So, and the high school kids, they all had to make a decision that ages 12 to 18, Pfizer's the only one approved for them. And so there's been kids and people in our community that have gotten that. So, yeah, especially with this outbreak that we had here to start school, I know there's been a little more push in that age group to get vaccinated. If you get vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine. So that's a huge ordeal. So kids don't want to be pulled from sports and pulled from school.
But once they get it and they have natural immunity, do they have to be quarantined in?
So if you have a natural immunity, if you have a positive test, you're bulletproof for 6 months. So you don't have to be quarantined if you've had COVID within the last 6 months. So, yeah, there's another way around it. As far, oh, and then of course, every week there's something new with these vaccines, but the whole booster shot stuff was in the media last week. And so the FDA weighed in, they have a panel that weighed in on Friday that says if you're 65 and older, or if you have a weakened immune system, they're gonna recommend that you get the third booster shot. So at least for Pfizer. And so they have recommended that. They have not put that into action yet. So we have to kind of wait for the official ruling, but just this panel said on Friday, we don't recommend ages 12 to 65 get the third shot, but we will recommend that age 65 and older get it, and if you have a weakened immune system, then you should get the third shot. So that's been kind of confusing too the last few weeks, because I know our president weighed in on that and said, hey, if you've had the shot 8 months later, you need to get the booster shot, but that didn't quite get all the backing it needed, and so the FDA weighed in on that on Friday and said, we're just gonna focus on 65 and older and the weakened immune system for now. So we have to wait for that official statement to come out, but that's what's expected to happen with the booster shots. And again, we don't know about Moderna or Johnson & Johnson on the booster shots, but I expect them will have a similar recommendation. So do I think everyone eventually is gonna have to have a third booster shot? Probably. But I really think their focus right now at the FDA level is to protect who needs to be protected, which is 65 and older. And they want to keep focusing on those younger populations to get their first shot. And so I feel like if they move on to the third shot discussion, we're going to leave those other people that might be on the fence, whether to get it or not, they're going to leave them behind. So I think they want to focus the next 2 or 3 months on getting as many people started on the vaccine pathway as they can. So, and then my final topic I was going to discuss with you guys is vaccine availability. So Auburn Pharmacy here in town and in Lebo, they're continuing to give the vaccine. They have a limited number that they can do. They do them on Fridays. It's Moderna. We, of course, at the health department did the Pfizer vaccine here a couple of weeks ago. The clinic in a couple of weeks will be up and running with our vaccine availability. So they're looking at the state. We already have Pfizer there. They may also get either Johnson & Johnson or Moderna so that they have a couple of different options there.
With Auburn doing it, it sounds like the clinics for Coffee County's gonna be doing it.
Yeah.
There's 10 doses in every bottle, 10 or 11. How you pull one dose out and the other 9, is it still active for a week?
I think it's just a few hours. So they have
So
to
they
be
just
given.
throw the rest of it away? If you don't have
Yeah,
to?
and so unfortunately, because of that, that's why pretty much everywhere you go to get a vaccine, you have to sign up for it. So that way they are
They are
prepared.
trying to.
Right, we want to minimize waste, yeah. We'd hate for one person to want the vaccine and then the other 9 shots go to waste. So I imagine our clinic, I haven't talked about with our manager there whether the logistics are going to work out or not, but I imagine we will have a date too that we do them maybe every Fridays or every Mondays or whatever day they want to do them.
That's why the pharmacy does them on Friday, because everybody, you're gonna do them on Friday.
Easier. Yeah. And I think if you're going to feel a little under the weather for 12 or 24 hours, you'd rather do it maybe on the weekend than a work day.
Weekend be better.
Friday works out.
You can ruin my weekend.
Yeah, I know. Not everybody feels that bad. Any other questions about numbers, hospital, vaccine updates, availability?
I think my opinion, you're headed down, you're on the right track. I mean, try to keep the world back as normal as we can get it, but yet cautions.
Sure. Everybody has
I
to
appreciate it.
Everybody has to absorb in the information and make the best decision for them. Okay?
So, only question I would have, it seemed like this COVID consumes a lot of your time.
Yeah, I mean, for a year and a half now, I guess we just kind of were accepting it at this point, I guess, but the new normal.
So I guess, I mean, if it wasn't for COVID, you wouldn't probably be as busy an individual as you are now.
You mean, are you talking about at the hospital or are you talking about with the health department?
Still the health department.
Oh, the health department, yeah. I mean, I think that the last year and a half has been a trying time, I guess. So there's always some dilemma or some fire that has to be put out.
Well, the only reason I asked that and state that is been a little bit of discussion on giving what's considered like a COVID stipend. So I guess at this point in time, I will make a motion to do a COVID, while COVID is in play and it's consuming your time, do a $500 a month stipend.
Okay.
I will make that motion.
Effective September 1. So
Yeah, September 1.
Is that dollar amount acceptable to you?
I mean, it is what it is. I'm not necessarily doing it for that. I mean, I'm just trying to help our community out, so.
We appreciate that, but some compensation for the extra time you have to put in would be
Sure.
worthy.
Appreciate it.
So I moved,
Second.
I think yes.
Jesse seconded. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Appreciate all you've done.
That's no problem. Okay.
Thanks
you.
for that. Thanks.
Good day. Have a good day. Good week.
I don't know how you have to do that, but
I'll just go back and listen to how you worded it and all.
I mean, as far as getting him
Oh,
compensated, so,
we can do a voucher.
okay, all right. So that brings us up to Rhonda.
One moment.
Demos we'll be talking about today. The first one is, the picture is Robert Reason. His is located at 718 California in Leroy. It is definitely in need. I've got some other pictures, but you can pretty much see how it is. It definitely needs to come down. It's right across from our community building in Leroy, and he feels like he will probably try to put a new house up. He's got a gentleman, Randy Graybill, that's going to be demoing it. I just got to let him know if you guys decide on that.
Suppose we could move that to Arkansas, I think it'd fit right in.
Does he currently still live at Rhonda? Off and on. This is one immediately north of the co-op and east of the community building, correct? It almost had. There definitely needs to be something done with it, that's for sure. Also move, Mr. Chairman, to waive the landfill fee.
Don's moved,
All second.
Tim seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Our second one, it's kind of been a big topic with the city and everything, but who's gonna take care of it and clean it up and everything? And Tom Hickman has purchased that at 509 North First. Mike Smith, since he gets done with the city demo, I think he is planning on heading over there to kind of take that down. And plans are for a new home to build in there, if you would like to waive the landfill fees on that.
Won't move. All second.
Jesse's moved, Tim seconded. I'll abstain. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Tell you what, you got a new house? Let me know how that works out for you. Might be your house.
So that pretty much completes our agenda.
Can we bring Lindsay in, get that settled?
We have lots, but yeah, we can do that. We'll call her. So while we're waiting on her,
Not her end of our,
no,
oh,
that's just what's on the agenda.
Isn't there a loan agreement and promissory note to sign?
No, ma'am, there's not.
Or has that been canceled?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
No, where I got it.
Yeah. I should have stated that. So, topic number 1 for me would be, my mic went dead. The HVAC upgrades are to be virus friendly, if you will. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, things came out, and I believe Angie was gone, we was gonna talk to her maybe about getting this published in the paper. Did you get a copy of this? Okay.
Oh.
You got it via email and as well as we have it today. I'd asked the gentleman that was drawing up the documents to attach you and Wade and everybody in it so that we could get this one going down the road to upgrade our HVAC system.
Okay, yeah, I've got a copy there, I guess that's what I'm saying.
And so I guess with that being said, we need to make a motion to approve you to advertise this, correct?
Yes.
Based off what we have in front of us. Do you have enough information there to?
Where did this engineer come from?
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
They'd already done some of the surveys, I mean,
I just didn't recognize it.
well, through Goldberg, I'll say that.
Because he had done some of this stuff.
Correct. Correct. They were already in tune to what was going on, so.
So this is going out, we're going out to bids for this.
Correct. Remember, we had got an estimate and we decided, and it's been a month or two ago now, that the estimate was high enough that warranted sending it out for bid, so. That's pretty much all we're doing now. I mean, the same individual that gave that estimate will have the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Given the opportunity and we'll at least advertise it to give everyone the opportunity, so that's kind of the plan.
Is this only for the jail?
No, ma'am, this is for the courthouse. There's a set of drawings in the back that,
Okay, I just, on the intent, if you look at 2.02,
I'm sorry,
on the instructions to bidder,
It does say in there,
it just says located at the Coffee County Jail, for air purification system.
well, we need to change it, I'm sorry, good catch. Does it, in the drawings, it does, like it's got mechanical ground, first floor of the courthouse, as well as basement, the lower level.
Basement's got all the jail's all there.
So you're gonna say courthouse and jail?
As long as it's all in there.
I don't see anywhere in the document where it says anything about the courthouse.
oh, she,
Well, pre-bid conference,
yes,
it's the only place it states courthouse.
So is that where the,
That's where it's going to be held.
I'm sorry?
That just says where it's gonna be held after the pre-bid conference at Coffee County Courthouse basement, but, I mean, it doesn't state anything in it about the courthouse.
And this drawing does not.
I think all you have to do is, under that intent, 2.02, add Coffee County Courthouse and Coffee County Jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be true, but I need to communicate with him.
To make sure he's
To make
included in
sure,
everything.
yes,
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
because, yeah,
I mean, one would assume that he's including everything because it's got the pictures of the jail and the courthouse.
So we need to table that until we get clarification.
The assumptions can get you in a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
I'm not too sure we don't need a little more documentation or a way to look it over.
I'm wondering if this, rendering, I mean, I don't know the HVAC system in here very well to say that it all starts here and,
No,
No. I mean, there's a separate HVAC system over here and there's a separate one over there.
okay, and from what I've seen in the drawing, the one over there is not in these drawings.
Well, you've got it on, if you look at,
It's on the basement and lower level plan.
yeah, if you look at mechanical basement and lower level plan, it's number 2 in the middle of the page.
Okay. Well, sounds like he's got it then. Okay,
But he doesn't have the wording, which you probably
Get it in
don't
Word.
have that.
okay. Well, so we can just change that, correct? Okay.
They're gonna turn the fire alarm on. Just real quick.
Nobody run.
Testing the fire alarm.
There's nothing
And
else.
at the pre-bid meeting, you can clarify that too, so.
Yeah, there's nothing else in the instructions that I could see that would be changed other than just adding that.
Okay. As long as everybody's okay and, like I say, we're not kicking this down the can or down the road any longer, maybe we can get this implemented before, like Sawyer said, this winter,
Mhm.
yeah,
you're up and running.
It's already gonna be tight to do it before this winter hits,
Yeah,
I'm afraid.
availability of things might be another issue anymore.
yeah.
I say we better get it going.
I'll make the motion.
Verbiage on that, Angie?
Move to authorize the county clerk to advertise for formal bids to complete a mechanical air purification system located at the Coffee County Courthouse and Coffee County Jail. With bids to be received by September 29th at 1 PM.
Can that all take place that quick? It's only a week away,
It says,
10 days.
Oh, that's a pre-bid. Hold on.
It says 13th October.
October 13th, where's
It
that
says
at?
it's top, very top.
Okay,
No,
to be received by October 13th at 11
So the
AM.
29th is just strictly a pre-bid for those who want to come in and ask questions.
So we'll need to get it in the paper this week. Mark.
will it work with everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So Tim's moved, excuse me, Tim's moved,
Second.
Jesse seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. The other thing I have is,
Lindsay's here.
oh, I'm sorry,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tom. I didn't think you'd see it.
that post kind of hides, and my mind's concentrating.
Kira
Okay,
said you had a question for me?
yes, they do.
It's, I guess it's actually shield classification.
Mhm.
M50. There, you don't have, 50 doesn't have a nurse.
There's a job description I provided to Andrea that Lisa had developed. She provided that to me towards the end of the study. I had asked her where an LPN would fall, because Sheila is an LPN, where an LPN would fall on that. And she helped develop that job description and that placement. And so, that's
That makes
where
sense.
that came from. So, yeah, I think it's indicated on the job.
The public health nurse is listed under number 60.
I know, so that's for an RN,
I'm sorry,
an
that's
RN,
an RN only.
yes. And so, this is an LPN. And so Lisa had placed it at a 50.
We don't even have a title for it.
Right, this was done after this was completed.
This individual's what, been employed about a year,
Mhm.
Year today, isn't it?
Yeah, here today, actually,
or
yeah.
under her job description, one of the, this individual, we provide our shots for Pfizer and Moderna.
I'm not going to discuss personnel in an open session.
You'll need to change your,
GLO.
but since this is one of the deals that Lisa had put in, it just hadn't been transferred over to our deal, I will still make my motion that I accept that.
So it's coming under, what is it coming under? I know you said you've got a. Right, I understand that she's an LPN, but you said it falls under the 50 somewhere.
I'm just basing that off of what she put in the job description when Lisa helped create it. That's, yeah, I'm just going off of what I've been provided.
It'd be a step M under 50.
Right.
There's nothing labeled there right now, so.
I'll need to update the
I'm
form.
sorry?
I'll need to update that chart with
Yeah.
public health nurse dash LPN for under 50.
Because there's not one.
Wasn't there kind of something in this that nobody was supposed to start over a certain letter?
I'm sorry.
They could be in, she's already started,
She been here.
but they could be in the top, the first three, but I think it could be the department head recommend or the commission has to sign off on a higher level. That's on a beginner.
She's at
They'd have to be
an,
in the top three, or the first three.
she's at an M now, that's why we chose M.
She's at an M now. A 35 M.
Third, and him now, but it's a 35.
You're just taking him from a public health nurse assistant to a LPN, correct?
So she's just gonna be properly classified in her position. That's all you're doing.
Any more discussion?
Do we need to go in executive session?
I'd like to have a little more clarification.
I would too. Can we go into executive session for 10 minutes
For
for
non-elected,
what purpose now?
Discuss non-elected personnel,
For what purpose?
to discuss non-elected personnel.
Personnel?
No way to let that fly.
no, you have to have a person, purpose or not, as long as you've got non-elected personnel.
You have to have a reason. You have to have a reason why you're going into executive session.
To discuss.
I don't know, but you gotta have a reason. Wages.
Salary.
Salary, no, you can't discuss salary in executive session.
That's only non-elected officials, isn't it?
Can't discuss anything on elected officials in executive session.
I realize.
Well, he's available via cell phone, so
I don't know.
Let me get
There's gotta be a
him.
reason for it, but I don't know what the reason is.
we've mentioned it many times to discuss non-elected personnel. That's why.
But there's always, you have to always have a follow-up for it. I don't know what it is.
So,
I guess I better do this here.
got the door shut. No.
Another week before we sign checks and vouchers, right? Another week
We are waiting.
Yeah, you sign next week.
next week.
Hello? Hello? Yes. So we want to go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel. That we need to add lib to that any?
What's who's it for?
Sheila, I guess. Fine.
Okay, non-elected personnel to discuss,
And I got you on speaker, so.
hiring or,
Advancement, I guess? Okay. Is that enough verbiage?
and then just put, it's to protect the privacy rights of the non-elected personnel.
Okay.
And that's under the same exception to the Open Meetings Act we use for non-elected personnel.
Okay.
And that's B2.
Good enough. Thank you. So, there it is. Jesse's made the motion, what he said.
I made the motion.
Are we just gonna be the commission?
Yes, one of you want.
I think we
Lindsay
have
did.
Lindsay in there.
Lindsay.
If we're,
Okay, she just left.
that's what we're trying to find out.
Yeah, I'm not too sure Wade had not be involved in it, but I'm not too sure 10 minutes long.
Let's go 20.
Let's go 20.
Maybe, I don't know.
Lindsay in the commission?
Yep.
Okay.
Need a second.
So who
I move.
All right.
10 seconded. 20 minutes.
Now we vote.
Pardon me?
Now we vote.
Yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're going at 9:55 and I'll pick Lindsay up on our way. 20 minutes.
I'm sorry.
you have that? The bid. Yeah. That way, if you're gone, or even if you're somewhere, you usually just move. And then when you guys get in the basement, you come and get out there, and that's how it's. But I would choose that. But it's that's not right. That's
only with a PDF versus the actually copy there. Because it's not an image, it's where I actually copy the words.
So you need to set the new one?
Well,
Actually, I mean, that's not that
it's
much.
easy to do that, but you know.
We're back.
Still missing one.
We lost one. Straggler.
He missed his break at 9:50.
We didn't take that, did we?
So if we go back in, or if we do something, we can delay a little bit and have it stop.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I cleaned my dress too good that one day, I think. But some of these came out, I can't remember which one was the latest and greatest. So. Tim's back.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Professor.
I move we go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel for 15 minutes under the same reasoning of previous. The only exception is the commission only and not Lindsay.
All second?
Jesse's moved, Tim seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I am absent. All opposed. Motion passes 15 minutes. We'll go in at, oh God,
Give us an extra-
10:20.
Give us an extra minute.
We're going at 10:21. We are back. So the earlier motion, our discussions have been informational, so the motion will read.
I take it my motion died for lack of second a long time ago.
Correct.
Okay. So we don't have two out there.
Yeah, no, it died like a second. So due to the resignation within the health department, move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice, Sheila Swank, public health nurse, LPN, health department classification 35M to 50I, is that correct?
50I.
50I. At a wage of $25.10, effective 9/1/21.
I'll move.
I got my verbiage correct, did I not?
I think so.
I did too. Again, our discussion was to discover that there is a resignation within, and this will move that person up to that position, so to speak. So, if my information is correct. So, Jesse's moved,
All second.
Tim seconded. Any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. 5-0?
Yep.
Okay. Is that verbiage okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, that, again, is the end of the agenda. The other thing would be, package showed up for me last week, and in it is flood maps for several areas. That's the city of Burlington. Well, there's several different maps, but anyway, sent out by FEMA. They have 9 questions that they wish answered, like political boundaries, road names, any concerns depicted to flood hazards, floodplain boundaries correspond well with historical flooding patterns. So basically, they're just wanting this to, because you do have to a certain amount of time to say no, or this area it's never flooded before in the past or whatever. But I don't know. I probably ought to forward this to Wayne, hadn't I? I mean, he would be more in tune in his department what happens in the outer around boundaries of the county. So just let you know, we did receive the information. There are maps because the floodplain is changing. So
I mean, I was kind of thinking maybe each person take their district, but I mean, still, I'm not gonna know what floods down at Jacobs Creek, you know. I know what floods up there in my area, but I mean,
I'm surprised they haven't supplied us with a complete floodplain of every city.
Amber probably
Yeah, I think
knows
it's there.
a lot of this.
Yeah, Amber could.
Amber probably knows it more so than.
well, how about I start there with emergency management?
I think they'd have to be
Forward
close
this to
enough.
them.
I think Amber was involved in on this, all these, quite a few years, we've discussed this, so.
All right.
I'm gonna say she could be the one.
That makes sense to me.
Carl's office.
One of the two anyway, and if it's not, then just have her get with road and bridge at the same time to make sure.
they ought to, Road and Bridge ought to have documentation of stuff.
Correct. Okay. That's what I will do with that then. Again, I think this completes
reminder, this Thursday is the Southeast Kansas meeting in Allen County. Registration is from 8:30 to 9:30 at the Bullis Fine Arts Center.
That's where it's at, the Bullis,
That's registration.
because they've completely redone that deal down there. And hopefully it'll all be held there, but I don't know whether they've got enough room for all of them or not.
Yeah, I don't know that.
But that is a sign up.
Yeah, 8:30 to 9:30, so I don't know what time you guys all want to leave,
Yeah.
but.
I got the time down
All
8:30.
Get in the same vehicle, split up, with other that are
And
about
this is, when did you say?
Thursday.
Thursday the 23rd.
I will probably drive myself.
I'll just drive down the railroad.
I've got, I won't be able to go check on
You won't make that one 10?
it. No.
Sometimes those are pretty good meetings. The last one, well, the one we was there a year ago was so poorly organized. In fact, they didn't even have any speaker for the department we were in for the commission. And we all sat around 6 or 8 around each table here, table there, and just discussed individual issues of each individual county. No program at all.
I don't remember them ever having a program with commissioners.
Yeah.
The last program we had for commissioners was when we held it, and we took them out to, Wood Creek.
The one down at, Independence here, which has been in the spring, they had a program and good topics there.
Well, the one in Gate Center last year for me, I found it somewhat informational because I had the opportunity to listen to, Economic Development Director for Parsons area, or City of Parsons. Very energetic individual, getting a lot of exciting things done, getting into what the new things are, like some people are turning tennis ball courts into pickleball courts because hardly anybody plays tennis anymore. Horseshoe pits are turning into cornhole where they're doing like, a rock, if you would, cornhole board. You can't just pick it up and run off with it. I mean, it's a permanent fixture. Pretty cool ideas. I mean, for the younger generation, that's what it's gonna take. They all wanna see things they like to do, walking trails and this, that, and the other. I found it informational. Anything else, Angie?
Yes, I wanted to look at signing checks and vouchers. We're doing Monday, September 27th this month. Next month, Wednesday, the 27th. November, we'll do the 29th following the meeting.
November the 29th.
Yeah. We're gonna have it's gonna be a short month for November with the holiday, and so we'll have to get things in early and give us enough time to do the 29th. And then December, with us being closed on that Friday, 31st, I think we'll try to
We closed
sign.
on the 31st?
Huh?
We're closed on the 31st?
Yep, we moved it up. That's what we did 2 months ago.
Yeah.
It was scheduled for January 2nd, but we moved it back in December.
Correct.
January 1st is Saturday, so it goes to the Friday before.
Right. Okay, yes.
So we're closed that day, so we'll be doing year end on the 30th. And I think we can probably do checks and vouchers the 27th, following the meeting on Monday.
Right after the meeting.
All right,
And we'll just start there for now. That works for you guys?
sure.
And here in October, you said it was 27th also.
Yes.
I thought we had it set up here a few months ago.
And that's all I have today, other than you've got some checks and vouchers or stuff you got to go in, okay? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
got
all.
you covered here. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to, on the county treasurer, kind of see where we're at on the county sale. I've been kind of asked a couple of times, could we see if he could come down
On the tax sale,
on the tax sale?
sure. While we're waiting, do you have anything else?
No.
Jesse?
I did, I forgot. I got a meeting tomorrow with the fiber board tomorrow morning. I wasn't gonna be here, but I'm gonna be here now. So.
Okay.
And then Thursday for the deal down in Iowa, I'm up in here because my wife's supposed to be flying in from California, so I don't know. We don't know anything about that, so I'm gonna have to read up on that. So. I've been unsupervised.
Probably dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I got that in my calendar.
But other than that, I think that's all.
Well,
I don't know.
I think I covered all mine with the floodplain maps and, anything else. The HVAC stuff got squared away, so that's good there. And here's Richard. Mr. Kroll?
Greetings. It's Monday.
All
I
day.
did pictures.
I just had a question as far as how it's coming along, and then I was asked this question. Is there any way we could do a tax sale with the properties that was listed correctly?
I'm not sure on that one. Because I know it's one big unit. I don't know if we can pull things out that's, hadn't thought of that one. But, going back to what's listed properly and not, Chris sent me something that he can't figure out why some of the bankers are saying something's not listed correctly. So when they're not communicating well, because they said a couple properties are like repeated and not in a good way. So I'm trying to decipher what they're talking about back and forth. Has been a pain in the backside, but they're still not, bankers and Chris communicating well at this point. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what's where. If we were to roll new properties in, that would push it way out, but we can still, people that haven't paid, theirs is going to be rolled in anyway. So that's basically doing what I was looking for in the first place. So we won't probably add new properties because again, that'll push us back. The last time I talked, they said, well, it's usually a 6-month process. So that would, and you know how that goes, 6 months is actually 8 or 9. So rather than next September, we'll get it done as quickly as you can, just with those properties you have.
Just as current 17 or 18 property.
But, right, and so if those people haven't paid, which I don't think any of them have, they're just getting another year rolled into the sale of their own
So,
property.
so if there's 3 or 4 properties that are, what do I want to say? Incorrect or undefined, can a person go ahead and pull them and move them to the next and sell what is correct?
That's what I will check.
And go ahead and get it done that way where
Yeah.
I think that'd make a lot more of the taxpayers happier.
I think it
Happy.
would too.
I'll get it done as quick as I can. And knowing that I'm not worried about any new people makes it easier.
Yeah, because we can go ahead and schedule to have another one next June or whatever it is. Is that what you was thinking? I mean,
I would rather have it like in the second year of
So-
somebody, so that would make it, yeah, and then every 2 years after that. So then you're not coming in brand new, whoever down the road. Granted, things always change, but having that idea set in place and say, well, this is the way we like to have it done. Then it's not your first year trying to do a tax sale. Second year, things would work great, pull in people.
What is the date we're kind of trying to reach right now?
I am hoping for November.
November? All right.
to have to sell
All right.
on what properties are correctly listed.
Correct.
And what can't get figured out in between now and then. The ones that can't get figured out, we'll move them.
Yeah, well, if it has to be next June, then we'll make it next June.
Now, are the ones in question high value
Mhm.
ones? That makes it kind of odd that it's being not worked
Right,
together very well.
yeah, and again, the tax attorney is looking at it saying, well, I don't see what is wrong, not on either, from his standpoint. So maybe somebody's just dragging their feet, I don't know.
Well, they're not wanting to comply. Would be my guess. Lack of information, you can't have a sale if you don't have the proper information, so
Right.
if they're dragging their feet.
And neither one is sharing what they have with the other to say, it's just, you're saying, I don't like the way that looks, it's not right. It looks right to me. Well, how? And neither one has sent the piece of paper to the other one that says, here's what I have.
You assume our documentation here would be as accurate as you could ever get. I
Right,
can't understand why they've got inaccurate information on what we provided.
Is there a way to confirm the information that we have
well, the
is
last,
correct on our site and proceed forward with it?
the last I heard was, that is not the information we gave them. That's what our office upstairs said. The appraiser's office.
But can we check that to make sure that is the correct information?
Right,
If it's what we have, then
it's pretty correct.
we could move forward.
Right, so what they posted is what the issue is. And so going back, seeing what's going on here, I would almost think of using somebody else in the future, but that's for another topic down the road.
Would that be satisfying
November is what I'm looking for. November.
well, the properties that are being held up are high value, which shocker, right? So if we,
Well, there's actually the two big, well, what's it, the two biggest issue people. I don't know what I'm allowed to say in here, but yes.
choose wisely.
Okay. It's not just, one person has a couple
If
different
we
properties.
got it right,
That's what I
and the
said.
lawyer got it right,
We'll move ahead with what we can in November.
Yeah,
That's what I'm-
we've got it right with our records and our law, and that lawyer thinks they got it right. I say move ahead with it.
And if they ask the question, well, why are you moving ahead with it? Well, because you're not supplying the documentation stating that we're wrong.
Yeah,
So
show
we're
me-
not-
show me where I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Exactly.
prove we're wrong.
Instead of them making us prove we're right, make them prove that we're wrong. So I say move forward with it.
That's what I'm trying for November.
I'm surprised we supplied them the information. I'm surprised they didn't come back to us once they had everything documented to go to the paper for printing. I can't believe they didn't ask us to confirm that all the documents were totally accurate.
I wasn't here, so I can't tell you.
I
I
realize.
would assume they
I'm
did.
surprised they didn't ask us to confirm it. That way, if 3 printings, it was done, ready to roll.
You would have thought there would.
You'd have thought they'd been followed so we could confirm that everything was done. Now it sounds like they didn't get anything. They got some few things printed inaccurately because they provided it to the paper wrong.
Maybe or maybe not.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess after you have it, so you can figure it out after that. It'd be easier to reimburse somebody money, isn't it?
Hopefully.
The second sale we have, it'll move along at a smoother pace.
Yes.
Any more questions?
Thank
I
you.
don't think you're gonna sell it like that.
So that's the plan, hopefully November.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think there's any sales out there nowadays that get pennies on the dollar.
So Angie, I know this is your deal, but you have somebody resigning as well too? I see you're advertising for.
Yes, I have someone who's retiring, going to travel with her husband, and so I'm moving one over to her position and hiring for that person.
I just seen that paper, but I assumed, maybe I knew who it was, but
Yeah.
congratulations to her. So. Andrea,
Just a couple little things. Remember last week it was brought up about having things ready for the books by Thursday. Did you want me to put out an email that says if it's for the books, have it by Thursday so that I can get it emailed out by Thursday, and then if anything comes in on Fridays, just send that an additional email, or how does that work best?
I think there ought to be a deadline on it. I don't think it ought to be just whenever willy-willy they want to bring it in. I think go for it. If it's an emergency, it's a different ballgame than just a normal situation.
By Thursday?
I think it,
Well, it seems like some of the normal things turn to abnormal fairly quick. Like today's topic, I mean, you know, it was nice to have our executive sessions and get the rest of the information needed to make a good decision with, so. Even having the information in by Thursdays, good, but if it's something that needs to be discussed in depth like we did, I don't know.
We had an example last week, just so you guys know, well, the week before too, but stuff got turned into our office to get approved on Monday, like on Friday. And then this last Friday, we had Fraser's office brought down tax abatement, which we did today. So we have instances like that where you want us to hold off on tax abatements another week if they come in on Friday. I mean, you never know when people are gonna come in and say, I got rid of this, I need to get, reimbursed.
Right.
The agenda changes between Thursday to Friday, and then there's a whole new.
well, I understand that, and I think we're kind of getting back to it. We used to have people who, it was pretty common what they were gonna do, and they would bring it in on Monday morning to us. And they knew it in a week or two in advance. And we've had the times where, well, this was due on the 20th, and they brought it in to us on the 19th. And they've had this for a month or so, knowing it's due the 20th. Those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. Your laziness is not my emergency.
When we talked about this here 3 years ago, I think it worked quite well for a few months. But it's like everything else, didn't take long to get.
Maybe we need to remind everybody every few
It didn't
months.
it didn't take long to get away from it, and we just kind of let it slide. To me, we need to get back to everything needs to be on Thursday, unless it's a dire emergency. And we know those things are gonna come out.
Got one thing from last week that we didn't resolve was Wayne's COVID pay.
We did not make a motion on that, no.
We
did not.
need to do something, because I think it's gonna be in this week, does it not, Angie?
Correct.
Very good. So what we did, if I remember right, I think we all agreed that it would be a 60-40 split, no matter what the case, because it'd be hard to prove that it was or was not contacted at work.
If you've already used your 2 weeks.
If you've already used your 2 weeks, yes. So,
I think that's all we can do, because we can't trace it.
no.
You know, at the beginning, I kind of thought that the tracing was, of course, then you had your restricted cities. If somebody left work on Friday afternoon and drove to Johnson County and, I got a quarantine type deal. Well, you did that on your own knowing, so we're not gonna pay you for that. I understand that. And it was, like I say, it was a little different when it first started to try to, because you had your quarantine counties or cities. And so I think we're gonna have to go with pretty much 60% if you've got COVID.
Regardless.
Or use your vacation time.
Regardless, correct?
Yeah, regardless.
Now, we can pay the 60% and they can use their vacation the other 40, is that correct?
Vacation or sick leave.
Or they could choose not to use their sick or vacation if they didn't want to.
Right.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Right, that's an option.
Yeah, that's just gonna be questions asked that we gotta try to,
Yeah,
Head
I've
off.
already had that question out.
But that's-
And if
that is the
they've
option.
already used a week's worth of sick leave, will it reimburse?
what's that now?
If they already.
If they've already, before you decided this, the 60-40, I have a person that's already used a week's worth of sick leave.
Well, that was before we set this really.
Okay,
That was until we move, once we move on this, that's when it starts.
that's when it starts. Okay, I'm gonna clarify that.
Yeah, because I had that question too. Did you have
Well, I
any?
think I threw that out there last week.
If you do that, we got people who want to go clear back
Yeah.
a year or longer.
Okay.
So from a year forward.
And the 60/40 is also at 80 hours, and then from then on, do they use, then the 100% was at 80 hours? If they haven't used it.
Well, I mean, if they've got to be off, I mean, right now they're off, what, 7 days with testing or 10 without testing?
10 without.
10 without testing and 7 with, you got to have a negative, you can come back after 7 days, I think. I don't know, I'm not a health person.
See, there's a different procedure every time something comes up.
Yeah, it's
But,
for 80
but there's
hours.
also vaccinated, doesn't have to quarantine. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I think
it's for 2 weeks, 80 hours,
80 hours.
the 60/40.
And I suppose this has happened as many times in the year, as long as you can get COVID.
Yeah, it's a hard call. It really is. It's a very hard call, but I do know last week, when we were discussing it, we all did agree that it'd be hard to determine whether it's caught at work or not, so we just right across the board. And does that need to be in a resolution or what?
We need a motion.
A motion to,
So I'm writing something here.
okay, all right.
Move to approve COVID pay at 60% to 40%, 60% county, 40% sick or vacation for 80 hours for a 2-week period,
I don't,
or for 10 days, or for,
I would say I'd say you're gonna have to go 10 days, I think.
I know we've had a couple that's been out longer than any 10 days.
But that's,
But so the problem
you gotta draw a
is,
line somewhere.
I
Like,
agree.
yeah, the problem is your AB, so if it's in a family, if you've got somebody that's not been vaccinated, just say the husband has not been vaccinated, he catches it. The wife and kids have not been vaccinated. Soon as subject A gets out of quarantine, the other family members can have it, so subject A's gotta go back into quarantine again.
I'd feel comfortable with the 80 hours
I think you just go with it.
and just 80 hours of it.
We need to keep it as simple as we possibly
Yeah.
can so that everybody's fully understands it. And not make
You
too
use
many,
that 80 hours,
it'd take people to get off forever.
don't want to make too many exceptions in it or you're gonna create issues.
So are you just giving another 80 hours,
well,
period,
That's why.
and then have to revisit if somebody's gonna have to use 160?
no, yeah,
well, they shouldn't have to, well, if they're quarantined now. If they already had it, they shouldn't have to quarantine, right? Because then he said 8 months, they're good for 8 months if they had it.
6 is what I heard, but yeah, you're correct. If you already had the COVID, you were good for 6. I thought he said 6, maybe it was 8, but no matter.
Well, I know people that's had it that hadn't been tested and told that they had it. So what do you do there?
There's more of that going on.
There's a lot of that going on.
There's more of that going on, we know.
Yes.
They know they got it, or they got the symptoms, but they won't go to test.
Why do you want to be tested? Why do you
Well,
need to?
I mean,
Or
it
just send you home?
becomes a number and you go home, so,
Yeah, become a number is all you do.
I don't know.
I'd be okay with the 80 hours.
Okay. Sounds like 80 hours.
Okay, so move to approve COVID pay at 60% county, 40% sick or vacation for 80 hours, split, no matter the case, if you've already used the previous 80 hours,
But it could be 40% sick vacation or
or no pay,
no pay.
sick vacation or no pay. If the employee has already used the previous 80 hours, previously paid 80 hours. Full paid 80 hours.
Vacation, 60 off.
Pretty good union.
as much as that stuff's going around right now, as active as it is, you know, you may have an employee that may get exposed to it 3 or 4 times.
Can, just throw another kink out, can we require that they prove
You can do whatever you want to do.
that they are either contacted or have been quarantined?
They can get a test from, you can get the results from the hospital or from the county health. They can bring a slip from a doctor, you can require that.
I mean, yeah, and then,
And then if they're just sick, and they don't supply a doctor's note or a county health nurse note, then they either take no pay or they take vacation or sick leave. Maybe a person ought to put that in
but
there.
to get to 60/40, they've got to show proof.
I would say, you better have that in the motion.
Yeah, because if you don't,
Yeah.
They would prove.
you just see.
Of course, if they're willing,
Passing that.
if they're willing to accept 60%, clean their vacation up with, we haven't lost anything.
No, they've
We haven't lost anything. You got
60%.
the vacation used up.
Well, you've lost the 60%.
Well, you lost 60%. Yeah, you have lost that. That's
And
just
plus
like
the manpower.
basketball girls went to Hartford today. We had two young ladies that, you know, had to get a quick test Friday night in order for the team to even go Saturday. Yeah, the only problem with that is, you know, they could keep getting the 60% free.
Right. And if there's no testing.
Might be a good way to get dismissed if they did that a couple
But if
times.
we show, they have to show.
I'm sorry?
proof. If they have to show proof that
Yeah.
it's not gonna be just on your hearsay.
You get that thrown in there.
Keep talking,
Keep
guys.
adding to it.
Give it longer.
Motion's gonna be about like that.
Just remember, of course, it's to the
If you get that long, Jesse, it won't be simple.
It's not simple.
Yeah, it's not. Okay, you want me to read it again?
Yep.
Move to approve COVID pay with proof, doctor's note or health department at a 60% county, 40% sick vacation or no pay, split no matter the case for 80 hours if the employee already used the previously COVID fully paid 80 hours.
I'll move.
Jesse's moved.
All second.
Tim seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Andrea?
No, the only thing is to confirm that I will send the response to that email in for the HR.
Oh, yes, we did enter
This one.
a contract with HR consultants or partners, excuse me.
Yeah.
So, I guess the discussion would be, do we,
Do you want something to come from me that says,
do we publicize that number to the employees so that that's their contact, or?
We didn't enter into a contract with them as our HR person. We entered into a contract to look over the HR audit and get it corrected.
Correct.
and then that email that I forwarded on from Lisa wanting a response, do you want me to respond that yes?
Thank you. It was.
I
Doing
understood
business
Wade,
with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I understood Wade was gonna respond to
Yeah.
that.
That's
Wade,
what I understood.
I mean, Wade,
Wade,
I understand, that was Wade's response.
okay,
Yeah,
not from me,
I
that's.
kinda figured that's
Wade.
already done.
Well, I feel the county owes the obligation to Lisa, to let her know that we moved on. Thank you for your service.
But at least watching, I would say thank you.
So, I would, at this point in time, I guess I'd say Andrea probably ought to just email her back or call her, whatever, and thank her for everything she's done, but yeah, we did.
Okay, so let's just make sure that would come from me then, not from Wade. that you're
Yeah.
saying.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, either way,
I'm okay with it.
I just assumed it was already done.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I got that.
I think that was it.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Are we gonna just leave the deadline alone as far as on Thursday and
On what?
on the deadlines to get stuff in.
Oh, for the commission meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they can have it to us by
Mhm.
Thursday, that way she can put it in her, when she sends out emails, what's in our books, and then at least we'll know, come Friday morning.
That procedure's already in place, never been changed.
Yes,
We just gotta get back into it.
just reiterate, so. Anything else?
We might. Is that your department?
One time we banned funds from the commission.
So that will
Yeah,
be
you don't-
changed then.
That's
Does
yours.
like
Okay.
that.
Did I don't need to say that? I don't need to talk about it.
Then all of a sudden, we already
Can they
signed
do
it.
policy?
We just talked about it.
Yeah, okay, I did,
And did she
yeah,
have
well,
you
that was
sign?
last week.
Yeah. So it's right on top of it.
What you refer to, yes,
The email that I received last Tuesday
from,
about hiring a tax levy, yeah.
I seen it in the paper, yeah.
So
I did, I assumed somebody was probably.
I just wanted to make sure it was the same, we'd already discussed it.
Correct. Anybody have anything else? Done. 11:14.
Get good.
Didn't take long for Mark shut his book up.